Good evening, everyone. My name's Yeside Linney.
Okay.
Is that loud enough?
Yeah.
My name's Yeside Linney. And it's not yesterday. It's Yeside. That's pronounced like yesterday without the T. And it's important to provide a context for my artwork because I'm originally from Nigeria and I was sent over here when I was on my own when I was 4. To be educated, and my father was quite specific that I only spoke English and took on British customs, and he was doing what he thought was right. As I've gone through the years and being very British in a lot of things that I've done, I, in later years, have wanted to reclaim myself and my identity and my heritage. So the piece that you see in this exhibition is called Reclamation, which is reclaiming my identity. But also what has happened is it's developed its own visual language. So it's become like a visual autobiography. This piece that you see in front of you is called Roots. And obviously, roots suggests something that is of the past, that's something that has history, and this piece is the first in the Reclamation series. And the Reclamation series all have one thing in common, and this is a typical example. It looks as though there is excavation, and the materials that I've used have echoes of things like caves, echoes of things like the Lascaux caves if you've been in France. So it's the idea that you're looking at history, you're going through the layers, and I do work in layers. So in this painting you can see what I can genuinely say about 30 different layers of material. And it's all about learning, it's all about getting involved. For me, developing this series is actually quite painful. I did try and do an autobiography some years ago, but and my children, because I've had such a weird life, wanted me to write it down. So when that wasn't working and I took up art 6 years ago, I thought, actually, I can develop it through art. And this is exactly what I'm doing, developing my story through the artwork. So here, what you've got is, if you go and see the painting, is you've got quite a few androgynous figures. You can't quite make them out. You know what it's like when you go into caves, you can't actually see. You're not quite sure what's going on. And with this, you can't tell what's going on, you don't know what sex the people are, you don't know what nationality they are, and there's a sense of something is lost. And that is how I start, with this preface to the series, that I feel lost. And the last in the preface of the series is me, in a sense, coming out, where I think, yeah, I know who I am, you know, I've got a handle on this. And the other thing that's going on here is marrying two things that I love, because I live on the Surrey-Hampshire border in National Trust land, and I love the landscape around me, so I'm really trying to depict the two, with the heritage and the landscape come together. And the last thing I'll say is that you'll notice, if you go very closely to the painting, that it's covered in what's called clear resin. And clear resin is like a viscous property, which when heated becomes liquid, and you pour it over the painting, and then you leave it, and it seals, and it just looks like glass from the outset. But what it does for me, because I work in acrylics and inks, it adds depth. And you can, if you look very closely, you can actually see all the different layers coming through. So for me, that's like an encasement to the work. And an encasement, it goes with this notion of a prelude to the next series, which is series 2. And if you're interested, you can see it on my website.
Thank you.